If you grew up in the 1990s, chances are there was one television show that left you both laughing and wondering if you'd accidentally fallen asleep and started dreaming. That show was the Australian children's classic, Round the Twist. The very first episode of Round the Twist is called Skeleton on the Dunny. That title tells you everything you need to know. From the 6th of April 1990, Round the Twist was magnificently, defiantly, gloriously strange, and for the generation who grew up watching it, it has never been forgotten. The series began with the short stories of Paul Jennings, one of Australia's best-loved children's authors, whose writing had a gift for taking a perfectly ordinary situation and then doing something deeply weird to it. Executive producer Patricia Edgar of the Australian Children's Television Foundation spotted the potential and brought Jennings on board to co-write the scripts alongside director Esben Storm. The condition was that Jennings would be mentored through the process, a creative partnership that gave the early episodes their sharp, distinctive voice. The show premiered simultaneously on the Seven Network in Australia and on BBC One in the United Kingdom on the same day in April 1990, which gives you a sense of how much confidence there was in it from the very beginning. The opening theme, written and composed by Andrew Duffield and sung by Tamsin West, became one of those pieces of television music that lodges permanently in the brain of anyone who heard it as a child. The setup is this. Tony Twist, a sculptor and widowed father, moves his 3 children, Pete, Linda, and young Bronson, out of the city and into a lighthouse on the rugged coast of the fictional town of Port Neranda. It should be a fresh start. Instead, it becomes a rolling sequence of supernatural disasters, magical objects, ghostly visitors, and incidents that absolutely cannot be explained by conventional science. The lighthouse is crucial. Perched on the cliff above the ocean, surrounded by rocks and sea wind, it is the perfect place for the impossible to happen. It also gives the Twists a permanent adversary in Harold Gribble, a ruthless local businessman who wants the lighthouse demolished and replaced with something profitable. Gribble and his family become the recurring thorns in the Twist's side, pompous, scheming, and reliably outmaneuvered. What made Round the Twist so special was the combination of things it was willing to be all at once. It was funny, unashamedly funny, with a particular enthusiasm for gross-out humour that delighted its young audience. It was spooky. It was occasionally genuinely touching. And it was built around real childhood anxieties. Embarrassing moments at school, trying to fit in, feeling misunderstood, navigating friendships. The supernatural elements were never decoration. They were what happened when those ordinary worries were cranked up to an impossible degree. Each series had a recurring thread that built quietly in the background of every episode before resolving in the finale, an unusual structure for children's television at the time, which trusted its audience to pay attention across weeks and months, rather than treating every episode as a clean slate. That trust was well placed. The show ran for 4 series and 52 episodes in total, though the journey was not straightforward. The first 2 series aired in 1990 and 1992, and then the show went silent for 7 years. When it returned in 2000, a new team of writers had taken over from Paul Jennings, and a new cast of child actors had grown into the Twist children's roles. It was a different group of actors who played Pete, Linda, and Bronson across the show's run. Child actors grow up, as they tend to do, but remarkably, the replacements each time felt natural because the character of the show itself never changed. The final episode aired on the 2nd of May 2001, 11 years after the series began. 52 episodes, one for every week of the year, as if the show had planned it that way all along. In the United Kingdom, Round the Twist was a phenomenon. CBBC broadcast it for years, and it became essential after-school viewing for an enormous number of British children who had never been to Australia and had no strong feelings about coastal lighthouses, but found themselves completely hooked anyway. In America, Fox Kids picked it up and billed it as Australia's answer to Goosebumps, which was not entirely wrong, though Round the Twist was always stranger, sillier, and considerably more interested in outdoor toilets. More than 3 decades on, Round the Twist has the kind of following that most children's shows can only dream of. People who watched it as children introduce it to their own kids. The theme song is instantly recognisable to an entire generation. The episodes hold up not despite their oddness, but because of it. Some shows try to be different and fall flat. Round the Twist was different right down to its bones, and it wore that strangeness like a badge of honour.